Trying to put your makeup on pre 7 AM is like an extra fun challenge. You can't really see whereabouts you're actually putting it on your face. Is this blended? Is this like a nice orange splodge on my cheek and underneath my eye? Who knows? We'll find out in about 3 hours when the sun finally comes up. This feels a bit strange because I literally never vlog on my phone. And also this is what's happening with my hair right now. She's a ye olde washerwoman. But my vlogging camera is set up downstairs and it's a bright and early setup in this household because I have, what's the word? Harangued? If that is a real word, that's definitely what I've done to Adam this morning because I have harangued him into filming with me before work today because it's literally the only chance we've got when the both of us are at home together for the next like 2 weeks. Literally, we've got so many plans in the calendar. We're gonna make a cup of coffee, we're gonna sit down for 20 minutes and do a bit of filming. And then, I mean, luckily, judging by what's happening here today, I'm off to the hairdressers. Which side do you want me on?
I think I'll be good here.
Okay. Not you, Flo, me.
She's got into position like an absolute pro.
Do you know, as soon as she hears that camera, like, little, like, beep beep, when I switch it on, she comes literally sprinting. It's ridiculous. He has been successfully harangued. It's 7:30 in the morning, so this might not be the most coherent little video clip we've ever filmed.
I haven't had a sip of this yet either.
Both got the sweet, sweet nectar to give us a helping hand with things.
Our moustache looks particularly prominent on camera, I think. I don't think it looks that prominent in person.
I've got a news flash for you that it's quite a prominent moustache at all times. Okay, we did it. Because I'm so aware that I just have done a terrible job at vlogging today. How do you take my coat off? Ugh. Welcome home. Would you like a cup of tea? There was also some post waiting on the doorstep. Mostly just leaflets. This looks like it's going to be something expensive, so that can wait for another day. This might be a little card though. It's so nice. We've been getting cards like every single day since we got home. It's so rare that you get cards to open. Huge congratulations to you both. Oh, this one's from some of Adam's close friends from uni. That's really sweet. Oh, it's just so like, everyone's so thoughtful. Okay, let me do a little stock check of what I've been up to so far today. I did film a couple of clips, so I feel like you'll already know what I've been up to. And also my hair is so shiny that there's only one place I could possibly have been. I went to the hairdressers this morning. That was like another slightly strange thing about the start to the day, was that I had a 9 o'clock hair appointment, which I feel like is quite a strange time to go and get your hair done. But when it comes to things like hair appointments and stuff, because I can be very flexible with my working hours, I'm very fortunate in that way, I always try and take appointments that I feel like most people wouldn't want. And didn't do anything too drastic. I swear whatever they wash your hair with in the hairdressers is like infused with some kind of silken magic. My hair is so soft and shiny right now. I got a half head of balayage, which is basically just like highlights running through to like lighten things up a bit. Last time I went, I got it like quite a lot lighter, and then this is then toned down, and that toner like gradually washes out to reveal slightly lighter hair. And I wasn't sure whether I was gonna like lighter hair last time I got it done, but I've actually really enjoyed it, and I kind of feel like I found the right hair for me now, which is a good feeling. So this time I didn't want to mess with it too much. I think this cut is good for me, just kind of like long classic layers. I think some like slight lightness to it kind of breaks up how heavy my hair is. I've got quite heavy, thick hair, and it turns into a bit of a triangle if I don't give it some attention. So I feel like this is a good vibe for me to stick with. So I basically just sat down and was like, same again, please. Also, the best bit about going to the hairdressers that I go to, so many of the hairdressers have tiny little dogs that they take to work. So there's like always a tiny little dog running around, which makes the experience so magical. Anyway, I'm now absolutely ravenous. And what is November for if it is not for making yourself some cheese on toast for lunch? If you're not making your cheese on toast with some Worcester, is it Worcester or Worcestershire sauce? I feel like it's a Worcestershire, Lea & Perrins. If you're not adding Lea & Perrins to your cheese on toast, I don't know what to tell you. You're doing it wrong. Although first things first, I'm guessing by the way that this one is weaving her way through my ankles currently, that it's time to feed the cat. Look at this. That is maybe one of the clearest rainbows I think I've ever seen. I feel like the pot of gold might be in our actual shed. There is so much around this house that needs doing today as a priority. When I come back from a trip, I really never know which way it's gonna go. Sometimes when I come back from a holiday or a weekend away or whatever, I will like unpack straight away, get the washing done immediately, everything goes back in its place like within seconds. Sometimes though, I'll come back from a holiday and somehow the whole house just ends up in complete disarray and I completely lose control of anything being tidy and clean. And that's exactly what's happened this time. I've completely lost grip of like the washing, the dirty bedding, like all the unpacking just being everywhere. There's like bags and bags of stuff here that I've taken out the suitcase and not found homes for. It just feels like the whole house needs a big reset. And I'm looking forward to doing that, but I'm not doing that today because I've got too much other stuff to do. And that all comes down to the fact that I'm actually heading up north this weekend. I'm gonna go and see my mum and my family, my brother, the dogs, first priority. I haven't been back since June because stuff has just been so hectic. And this is kind of like the only weekend I vaguely had available up until Christmas now. So it was kind of perfect timing because I get to go home and like share the engagement bubble and the joy of it only just happening. I'm gonna do like a nice roast dinner with all the family, kind of like an early Christmas celebration, happy times kind of vibe. Anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is I need to pack a suitcase and that involves getting one of these down, which is always a bit of a challenge. It's lucky that I am a tall human because this is a struggle even for me. There we go. Oof. Right, I'm gonna get packing. While I'm rummaging in my wardrobe, trying to dig out anything that's vaguely clean I didn't take away, I also randomly need to dig out my Minnie Mouse ears because my friend Amy's going to Disneyland Paris over the weekend and I said I had plenty-o ears if she would like to borrow any of them rather than buying them while she's there. They're in the back of this top shelf somewhere. Let me see what I can find. See, this is why I never get anything done in like efficient time constraints because now I'm just admiring all of my Minnie Mouse ears. They seem to just multiply of their own agenda, but I've got these really amazing sparkly ones, which I think Amy will love. So I think I'll probably give her those. An understated little tartan pair, which could actually be really cute for Christmas. So I'll take these downstairs for when she pops over and see what she fancies taking. In all honesty, this has just made me even more determined to book some kind of Disney trip for next year. Try to pack extra light. This is also half full of stuff for my mum to take to like a charity work Christmas present thing. So I've packed mega light. I'm really annoyed though because I really want to take this skirt with me. I'll try and show you it as best I can. It probably doesn't look very exciting though. I wore this on holiday. It's literally brand new. It's a lovely kind of timeless skirt. This will last me for ages. I love the classic heritage check to it and the brown tones in there. And what do you know, the seam literally bust on like the second time that I wore it. It's not even particularly like tight fitting, so I don't know if you can see that. I'm really annoyed, so I can't really take this with me unless I sit and give it a go at fixing this, which is exactly what I'm gonna do. I don't think I've ever attempted to repair an item of clothing, or maybe the last time I did, it was putting an iron-on patch over it when I was like 16. I remember once actually my friend Hannah busted the knees in her jeans. We must have literally been about 11 and her mum like turned the holes of the knees of her jeans into Pikachus. I wonder if she'll watch this and if she remembers that, and why do I remember that so clearly? So I'm gonna give that a go later with my very limited sewing skills. But there's one last thing I need to pack, so let's go and do that. Join me in a very exciting, perhaps underrated corner of this house. Let me introduce you to, wait for it, our games cupboard. You know you're really embracing your own personal nerdery levels to their finest and utmost when you dedicate a full shelf of your home to puzzles and board games. The last thing that I want to chuck in my suitcase to take home up north is a couple of games, because as I said, we've got this like nice, lovely, kind of Christmassy-ish family afternoon planned, and it's always a good idea to have a board game in that scenario, isn't it? This section of the vlog is very kindly sponsored by Big Potato Games. If you think you haven't heard of Big Potato Games, I'm gonna stop you right there, and I bet you 100% have heard of some of their most popular ones. For a start, you've probably heard me go on about this probably 10 million thousand times. This is OK Play that me and Adam just constantly have attached to his backpack at all times. We played this so much in America, and I thought it's actually really convenient timing in the year to show you this kind of thing, because if there is a better Christmas present or a like preemptive Christmas purchase than a great game to play with family and friends, I don't know what it is, but they're an independent board game company based in London, and the idea with their games is that they're all really unique and creative and really kind of silly and fun, but most importantly, they're all super easy and quick to play and very, very quick to learn. They have all the tutorials for their games on YouTube, so you can literally just turn on a video and show everybody how to play. They are on the way to being plastic free. It's like 64% of all of their game stuff is completely plastic free now, which is amazing. And something that I think is so great, their customer service is fab. They're such a nice team. They offer replacement parts just as a given, like, because they know that you will inevitably lose things. There is quite a few in here for me to rummage through. I'm gonna leave those two out, I think, this time. This little white box here, this is probably my favorite game of all time. No joke, I think I've taken this to every party I've been to for the last like 4 years. This right here is Herd Mentality, like the OG version, but I actually have this nice little compact version, which is what I'm gonna take with me this time. Herd Mentality is a great one for like a big group. It's a really funny social game, and I feel like the more players you have, the better it gets. But you can play it with anything from like 4 players upwards. You all answer very simple questions that are like, name a flavor of crisp, or like name a music festival. And the idea is that you have to think like the herd and write down the most obvious answer. This is a special edition one. This is music and movies edition. So there's lots of like Disney questions and band questions, artist questions in here. I think this is going to go down really well with my family. Such a fun icebreaker if you've got anyone new around for Christmas. It puts everyone in a great mood. Some of the times that we've laughed the most with our friends, I think, have been playing that game. So Herd Mentality, along with OK Play, is probably my ultimate #1 recommendation. You can also get a Christmas pack of Herd Mentality to add to your usual board game, and this is a selection of like Christmas themed questions to play the game with, so that's like a no-brainer for Christmas Day, so I highly recommend. And by the way, while I'm chatting all about this, I have a lovely 20% discount code for you, which can make such a difference if you're thinking about wanting to pick some of these up for Christmas or just kind of upcoming games nights that you've got in the future. I'm going to pop that on screen right now for you, and all of the info will also be in the description box. So that is Herd Mentality, my absolute fave, and the nice little spin-offs that you can pick up as well. Great little one for Christmas. I'm also going to give a shout out to this one, this game. If you have like a girls trip coming up, if you have like a little tradition where you go away with your girlfriends for Christmas, if you've got hen do's coming up, this would be such a great hen do game. This is Get the Ick. 3 guesses what this one is all about. You basically get a ton of really like horrendous turn-off scenarios. You all have to kind of bet on which one you think is the absolute grossest and that gives you the biggest ick, and you have to kind of like predict which ones you think your friends are gonna find the biggest ick. My favorite one, I think, is leaving comments on celebrities' Instagram posts as though they're best friends. So much fun. Like, this will send you and your friends spiraling into that like disgusting level of laughter. That is definitely my recommendation to chuck in your bag if you've got any kind of girls plans coming up. It's also really great for travel. It's very little. And let's just do a little one as well. I'm gonna have to mention this one because we took this on holiday and this was such a blast. This is Block Party, and although this is like a great group game as well, this would be another really good one to play with all your family at Christmas. This is actually a really nice one to just play just the 2 of you. If you're trying to think of like a really unique, fun idea for like a cozy little stay-at-home date night that's not going to break the bank, this could be a really fun way to go. You have handfuls of these like coloured blocks. You get a building card which comes with a list of all different options that you can choose from to try and build, and then you have to create those things with your little coloured blocks. They're all very easy things that you have to build, like carrots and trees and donuts and rainbows and all that kind of stuff, but under time constraints things can get a little bit stressful. So for any little upcoming game nights that you've got in your calendar, they are probably my top recommendations. They'll go down very well, they're really fun, and the key is they're also extremely simple and anyone can get the hang of them. I'm gonna pop the link in the description box along with all the details of my faves that you need, and the info on the discount code as well will all be in the description box down there. Happy gaming! Now I've got to try and squash these into my suitcase somehow. That's going to be an interesting challenge. Okay, after what I suspect is probably a video of me basically just flapping all day, I feel like I've been such a faffer today and it's been so like here and there while I'm trying to get bits and bobs done. We're now going to sit down and have a lovely peaceful chat, because this is what I actually really wanted to film today. I wanted to show you all the cute little bits and bobs that we picked up during our New England holiday. So I basically got 2 little paper bags full, and then I was gonna say a Target bag. Let's do this first because snacks are the most boring, aren't they? This literally contains 1 large bag of flaming hot Cheetos, and that's it. So the snack haul isn't exactly the most exciting, but I mean, obviously had to get some Cheetos, which I think are simultaneously the most delicious and disgusting crisp that's ever been invented. I kind of don't like them while I'm eating, and yet I'm so compelled to keep eating them. They'd like burn a hole through your tongue, and yet when one goes to America, one must buy Cheetos. The second snack-based rule of America is that you have to come home with at least one weird and wonderful flavour of M&M, even if you're not really a huge M&M fan. Like, an M&M fan. We went for this flavour, which I've never seen before, crunchy cookie. I'll say they're great, but I will caveat that by saying they're literally just the crispy ones. To me, they just taste exactly like the crispy ones. Having said that, we've nearly finished them. Now we can get into the cute stuff. There's quite a selection here. I will also just apologise for how terrible this lighting is. I'm hoping it's giving cozy evening rather than it's literally pitch black and torrential wind and rain outside. So I was on the lookout for some cute little Christmas decorations while we were there. Not that we can fit a single more Christmas decoration. We already have the world's maddest tree. So this one we picked up from a little town called Conway, which was on the way up to Vermont, kind of in New Hampshire. And this was from a place called Zeb's Convenience Store, which is a really kind of iconic, very, very old convenience store that's been maintained like very traditionally, full of, you know, maple syrups and maple candies and all that kind of stuff. We loved it. We had such a fun half an hour just like browsing through there, and it was just before we hopped onto the railway, which like took us through all the beautiful foliage scenery. It was such a gorgeous day, and it was also the day after we got engaged. But I just really love the attention to detail on this. I love how shiny it is, and our tree tends to be like a red and gold vibe, so this is going to go really nicely with that. But then when I spotted this one in Vermont in exactly the same packaging, I was like, oh, that's also stunning and perfect, and I would love to have that on my Christmas tree too. I found this at a little cider farm that we stopped off at. One of my favourite things that we saw were the covered bridges. They're so kind of iconic to that part of the world. To me, they're just really beautiful and wholesome and just reflect the whole aesthetic of that part of the world so perfectly. And a couple of other little bits from Vermont include this free postcard that was waiting for us in our hotel room. If you think I'm leaving a free postcard behind, you've got another thing coming. This is going straight on the fridge. Pins are always something that I keep a little eye out for to see if I can find any cute ones. And as soon as I saw this one, this was also from the cider mill actually, but this is just so beautiful. I think it's one of the most like finely detailed pins I've got in my collection, and it says Historic Vermont Green Mountain State, and then it's got one of those beautiful little red bridges on it. And while I was editing this video, I realised that I completely forgot to show you one of my, maybe my favourite thing that I got actually, which is my Vermont sweatshirt. It's this lovely burgundy colour, and then Vermont is embroidered in this lovely emerald green with little autumn leaves all through it. I just love it. I think it's my perfect sweatshirt. Next little pin on the map where I picked up a few bits is Salem. We went to Salem on Halloween. It was probably one of the best days of my life, honestly. That's somewhere I've wanted to go since I was probably about 6 years old and watched Hocus Pocus for the first time. I had to be very restrained because I probably could have spent hundreds of thousands of pounds in Salem, but I really tried to be selective and only choose things that really like spoke to my soul, so that I didn't end up with a suitcase full of slightly baffling witchy paraphernalia. Let's call it paraphernalia. And of course, obviously Adam was largely baffled by most of it, and while I would have filled the house with Salem-based merchandise, I'll show you this little print that I got first. So because we were there on Halloween, there was so much amazing just kind of like street interaction going on. There was a lot of like market stalls and things like that because obviously it's one big street celebration. It was so much fun, the vibes were amazing, and I spotted this artist on one of the market stalls. I got this little print which is like a hand-drawn, super cute little map of all the major points around Salem. I was really pleased with this, and this is going to look very cute in a little frame in my office. And it also came with a little bonus sticker of a ghost who is celebrating Salem 2023. I also got this little pin from Salem. I was on the hunt for a really lovely pin, and I picked this one up from a shop called the Trolley Depot. It's like a little road sign that says entering Salem, and then it's a little witch on a broomstick, which I think is actually the logo of Salem because we saw that on one of the police cars as well. A little bit of context for this one. Obviously I was desperate to go to Salem anyway, but I wanted to pick up something from there as a little celebration of something that I've achieved this year, because it's kind of loosely connected. And I wasn't sure what that something was going to be. I didn't know whether it was going to be something extravagant or something tiny, but I just knew that when I saw it and it really spoke to me, I would know that that was the thing to buy as like a little celebration for myself. I saw this in probably my favorite shop that we went in. Obviously all the shops were so amazing there. I could have just browsed them all day, but it was a particular shop that was recommended by some of you guys, so thank you if you recommended this. It was called Enchanted. Walls and walls of like potion ingredients and like everything magic related you can possibly think of. This shop was just like bursting at the seams, and I spotted these little mini velvety spell books, and as soon as I saw it I was like, that's it. That is exactly what I want. It is just the perfect little tribute. It's nice and understated, but it's just, it's so perfect. It's got this gorgeous foiling detail, and they had lots of different ones, but this is the Witch's Spellbook for love, happiness, and success. So I just thought that was the perfect little keepsake, and I can't wait to pop this on my desk. And it is actually full of spells for a charmed life. This is definitely the thing that Adam was like, that is so silly, but as soon as I saw her, I just loved her. I was like, I have to have you hanging up in my home. I was actually on the hunt for something called a kitchen witch, which I feel like is a very 80s/90s Salem souvenir. Basically like a witch that you hang in your kitchen for good luck. Apparently they're out of fashion, but I did find this little lady. You pop a little string through here, and then she hangs at your window and reflects the light. And I just loved her. As soon as I saw her, I knew she had to come home with me. So I just need to get a little piece of ribbon or something to hang her up with. And that was another one of the stalls at like the Halloween fair as well that had been made by like a local crafts person. I think my one thing that I really regret not picking up is one of those same style Christmas decorations as the Zebs and the Vermont Bridge. They had a similar one at Louisa May Alcott's house. If you are not familiar with who that is, she is the woman who wrote Little Women, and we went to visit her house, which was such a special experience. I actually found it really moving and quite emotional. It was a little bit of a mini dream come true kind of thing, and they had a decoration of her house, and I don't know why I didn't get it. I could have bought everything in that gift shop. If you are anything like me, can you even imagine how wonderful that gift shop was? There was every edition of Little Women you could possibly imagine. They had one of those hats that Jo wears while she's writing, which I was quite tempted by, honestly. Like, it was basically my entire Christmas list, but I decided to go for a pin, a little wooden pin of a copy of Little Women, and then it says Louisa May Alcott on the spine. So I thought that was a really nice little souvenir. The last pin I think I picked up was a Harvard pin. We did indeed go to Harvard, and I lived my Lorelai and Rory Gilmore Girls dream. You might have seen on Instagram. You know, it's one of those places that you go to and you can like imagine yourself living there in another life, in a past life, in a future life. You can like see yourself being a student there. So it was just like a really lovely experience. And while I toyed with the idea of a Harvard jumper, I didn't go for one, mainly because they were so expensive. So I compromised and got the little pin instead. I think this is the last Christmas decoration. I wanted to make sure I got a little Boston Christmas decoration. This isn't the same type. I actually quite like the like souvenir Christmas decorations you see that look like they're from like 1995. Like they're really like chunky and loud and like a little bit ugly, but in like a nostalgic kind of way. So this is a little Christmas Boston scene with a little wreath and a bow and a whole lovely selection of some of our favorite Boston landmarks that we visited on the walking tour are all on there as well. This is one singular Christmas card that I bought. If my mum is watching this, Mum, if you're watching, please look away now, because this is a Christmas card that you're getting. There is a famous statue in Boston which is called Make Way for the Ducklings. It's a tribute to a children's book of the same name, and it's literally like a line of beautiful mother duck and ducklings. I know that when my mum went to Boston, she also had a particular soft spot for it. So when I saw this Christmas card, I was like, oh, I have to get that for mum. I found this in a really cute shop that we went into actually, which was near Beacon Hill Books, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. but it says season greetings from Boston. Oh, I totally forgot as well, I also got a Christmas decoration for my mum in Vermont. It was a lovely like hand painted one made of maple oak, and because she loves collecting all her like destination decorations, I thought I would pick up one of those for her. So this was like the biggest treat to myself, I think, and this was from a place called Beacon Hill Books. We kind of stumbled across it one day, so I couldn't resist popping in, and when I say I fell in love with this bookshop, all other bookshops are ruined forever now, because I think it was one of the most special places I have ever been to. It was the bookshop of your dreams. There was fireplaces and beautifully upholstered armchairs, and it smelled incredible. It's in this like beautiful delicate shade of pastel blue. It's also detailed and intricately laid out, and you can just tell that so much thought has gone into how it feels and how it looks to be in there. It's just immaculate. And on the children's floor there was this train that like went round the top of the shop floor, and these little doors that children could go through, and it just had the most magical feeling to it. It felt like a bookshop from a story. Like, I just loved it. Anyway, so obviously I wanted to get something from the bookshop. I didn't want to get books because we were very, very limited on luggage space. So this is a little cap and I'm trying my best to be a cap girl at the moment. I always beat myself up and told myself that I wasn't cool or attractive enough to be a cap girl, but life's too short. If you want to wear the cap, wear the cap. The Beacon Hill Bookshop kind of mascot is a little squirrel, because Boston is big on its squirrels, and he's sitting on top of a little stack of books, and it's hand embroidered. So that's my little hat that I got. I just love him. He's so cute, and it's a really nice little kind of handcrafted souvenir. I also got a free bookmark from there as well, because as soon as I got to the till I was like, this is the most beautiful place I've ever seen. So she was like, okay, here's a bookmark, calm down. Speaking of books though, randomly when we were exploring the really gorgeous part of town, Beacon Hill I think it's called, it's literally like the houses of your dreams. Like when you think of Boston and you imagine living in Boston, that's what you picture. We were just wandering around in awe of how amazing everything was, and like all the Halloween displays and stuff. And on one of the stoops amidst the pumpkins, someone was doing a little clear out, and they'd left a load of books out there. And I spotted this, which has been on my list for ages and I haven't picked it up, and it was like, take what you want, like free to a good home kind of thing. And as I said, this has been on my list for ages, so I was like, wow, thank you Boston, it's like you knew I was coming. But then on the way back to Boston after Vermont, it was quite a long drive. It was like 3.5 hours, and we hadn't really planned any stop-offs like in that direction, but we realized that about 3/4 of the way down there was an outlet, and when that American outlet calls, Bath & Body Works is my first stop. I got 3 of the hand soaps because these were only $3.50, which I thought was a bit of a bargain. These are so expensive at the UK Bath & Body Works. So I got 3 flavours. I got cookie butter truffle, which just sounds so ridiculous. Marshmallow fireside, which is my favourite type of smell. And I also got iced cinnamon rolls, because who doesn't want to wash their hands in iced cinnamon rolls? And I was very good and restrained myself to just 2 candles, trying to keep the luggage weight in mind while I was there. And after a lot of smelling, I decided to go for this one, which is Fireside. It's got this really cute like navy blue snowflake print to it on the jar. And how do I describe this? This literally smells like fire. Smoked cedar, fresh clove bud, warm embers with natural essential oils. It just smells like a gorgeous roaring fire. Do you know what it smells like? It smells exactly like if you were to go to a really posh, like stately home, or like a National Trust property that put on some kind of posh Victorian Santa for you to visit. That's exactly what this smells like. It smells absolutely banging, and I can't wait for our house to smell like this. Last but not least, the other big 3-wick candle that I picked up is a bit more of an autumny one. This is called Leaves. So I went for Fireside and Leaves. The professionals call this one Crisp Red Apple, Golden Nectar, Warm Clove Spice with Natural Essential Oils. And this smells like autumn in a jar. I can really smell the apple in that actually, now that I've read that. It's just got like that really warm, spicy, autumnal, cozy scent to it. Oh, it smells so good. It really smells like toffee apple. Wow, I'd forgotten how delicious those were. I'm so excited to burn those. And that is everything I picked up in New England. I'm so excited to use my new things now. They've been sitting there waiting. So just between you and me, this final clip for today's video is even cozier than usual because I'm literally under the covers. I made like a conscious effort tonight to make myself come up to bed like probably like 20 minutes or so earlier than I have been doing recently, because when I say my reading time has literally been non-existent. By the way, I've got my retainers in, so if I've suddenly developed a lisp, that explains that one. My reading time has been basically non-existent for pretty much the majority of autumn, end of summer kind of time. When you're a big reader and you love your reading, when you notice that you've kind of dropped your reading time a little bit, if you're anything like me anyway, you feel strangely guilty about it because you know that there's a better way that you could be spending your time. I don't know whether it's because I haven't picked up a book for ages that I've really like wanted to sink my teeth into and been kind of obsessed with and gives you that like slightly obsessive tendency for reading. I haven't read anything like that for a really long time that I've absolutely loved. But I would say since we got back from the family holiday that we went on in September, which I did a lot of reading on. I read 4 books that week, so that kind of makes up for it a little bit. Since then, I've barely done any, which is so unlike me. But basically, when we were sorting out all the shelves and the cupboards downstairs and stuff, I rediscovered this massive cross-stitch embroidery. I picked it up one evening and basically haven't stopped. Like every night that I've been in since, spent hours of the evening doing the cross stitch while binge watching something, and that's just like the new routine that's taken over my evening. I get very fixated and settled into little pockets of activity. I go through like months at a time of different evening activities, and at the moment that's just the one I'm going for. I think because I was pairing it with a rewatch of Buffy. But anyway, whatever the reason, I haven't been doing a lot of reading, but I think I showed this last time I did a vlog actually. I picked this up from the library, 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I haven't read anything like this for a really long time. It's like I think it's probably YA, but like a real kind of fantasy vibes, you know, Motley Crue adventure type thing. And I'm absolutely loving it. All the like world building to it kind of feels like a little bit like dark and swashbuckling, I would say. It's giving me like slightly piratey kind of era vibes. It's a little bit like gothic-y. It's just really enjoyable and really well written. It's so compelling and I'm like so invested in these characters and their antics already. The first couple of chapters, when you haven't read something like this for ages, it literally feels like you're reading gobbledygook and your brain is like, what is this? What are these words? Who are these names? All these made up places, what are you talking about? So the first chapter or so was a bit of a struggle, but I feel like a switch kind of flicked once I started to get to know the characters a little bit, and now I'm fully in. So I just wanted to make sure that I said thank you very much for watching this video and good night. I hope you sleep well. You're probably watching this at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon when you should be doing something more productive. Not to call you out or anything, please enjoy some downtime. Thank you very much for hanging out with me today. It's been a little bit all over the place, so I really appreciate you sticking with me. And last but not least, don't forget to check out Big Potato Games if you're doing any Christmas shopping, if you're thinking about getting set up for the festive period. All of my faves and my recommendations I'll pop in the description box down below for you, along with the discount code, so make sure you check that out. So on that note, I will bid you farewell, and I will say see you very soon with another video.